Okay, so um, imagine this. You're trying to install like a new video editing program, but then your computer throws a fit because it's missing some like obscure file.
Right.
And then it turns out that that file was like essential for the program to even launch.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
Right. That's the kind of headache that used to plague computer users all the time. I mean, thankfully, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Imagine having a personal assistant for your computer. You know, someone who fetches the software you need, makes sure it has all the right components, and even, like, tidies up afterward.
Okay.
That's essentially what a package manager does.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm not exactly sure how these package managers work. Where did this brilliant idea even come from?
Well, to understand the rise of package managers, we need to take a trip back in time.
Okay.
To the early days of Linux.
Ah.
Remember, Linux was all about customization and having this massive library of software at your fingertips.
Right.
But all that choice came with a price.
Okay.
Complexity.
I can see how that could get messy fast.
Yes.
So many programs, so many potential compatibility issues.
Exactly. Installing software often felt like navigating a minefield. You'd download a program, try to run it, and bam, error message about a missing dependency. Then you'd spend hours hunting down that missing file, only to find that it needed another specific version of some other component. It was a nightmare.
That sounds like a recipe for a total meltdown. So how did Linux users solve this problem?
Out of necessity, they created package managers.
All right.
Think of them as brilliant librarians who not only keep track of all the books, but also understand all the intricate relationships between them. They became the unsung heroes of the Linux world, making installations smooth and predictable.
So they're like, oh, you want to install this video editing software? Well, you also need these audio codecs and these specific graphics libraries in these exact versions. And they just take care of it all behind the scenes.
Precisely. No more cryptic error messages about missing dependency. It's like having a built-in mechanic who makes sure all the parts work together perfectly.
Now, that's what I call a lifesaver.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it wasn't just about convenience, right? There were some serious benefits to security and trust, too.
Absolutely. With Linux package managers, you're typically installing software from curated repositories.
Okay.
These repositories act like trusted stores, where each piece of software is vetted by the community or the distribution's maintainers.
So it's like having a seal of approval, knowing that someone's already checked that the software you're getting is safe and legitimate.
Exactly. This system significantly reduces the risk of installing malicious code or incompatible software.
Right.
Plus, package managers made updating software incredibly easy.
Right.
Instead of manually hunting down updates for each program, you could simply use a single command to update everything at once.
Talk about a time saver.
Okay.
I'm starting to see why package managers became so essential in the Linux world. They were the key to managing all that complexity and keeping things secure.
Precisely. And as Linux continued to evolve, different distributions emerged with their own unique philosophies on package management. It was like different schools of thought on how to organize a city.
So tell me more about these schools of thought. What were some of the key players in the Linux package manager scene?
Well, you had APT, the advanced package tool, primarily used in Debian-based distributions like Ubuntu.
Right.
It was known for its robust dependency management and ease of use.
Okay. APT for Ubuntu. What else?
Then there was YUM, the Yellow Dog Updater.
Okay.
Modified, which later evolved into DNF.
Okay.
Or Dandified YUM.
Okay.
These were the stars of RPM-based distributions like Fedora and CentOS.
So APT and YUM DNF were the big names.
Those are some of the heavy hitters for sure. But there were others, each with its strengths. Pacman, for instance, was the package manager for Arch Linux, known for its speed and minimalist approach.
Okay.
And then there was Zypper, used in OpenSUSE, which offered a nice balance of command line efficiency and a user-friendly interface.
Wow, a whole family of package managers, each with its own personality. It sounds like Linux users had a lot of choices when it came to managing their software.
They did. And each package manager played a crucial role in shaping the Linux ecosystem.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is that despite their differences, they all shared a common goal to make software management as seamless and reliable as possible.
And they succeeded, didn't they? Package managers are practically synonymous with Linux now.
They are, and their influence extended far beyond the Linux world. Windows users, witnessing the benefits of this organized approach, started to wonder, why can't we have something like this?
It sounds like Windows users were ready for a change. They'd seen the promised land of organized software and they wanted in.
They did, but for a long time, Windows didn't have anything comparable to those powerful Linux package managers.
Really?
It was still the Wild West of software installations with all those manual downloads and the constant worry about compatibility issues.
So what happened? When did things start to change for Windows users?
Well, Microsoft was paying attention. They saw the benefits of package management and the growing trend across all operating systems.
Yeah.
It was clear that this was the future of software distribution,
Right.
and they needed to be a part of it.
So did they just copy what Linux was doing?
Not exactly. While they drew inspiration from Linux, they also wanted to create a solution that was tailored to the specific needs of the Windows ecosystem.
Enter Winget.
Precisely. Winget, officially known as the Windows Package Manager, was Microsoft's answer to this challenge.
Okay.
They wanted a native built-in solution that felt like a natural extension of the Windows environment.
Okay, I'm intrigued what makes Winget so special. How does it compare to those Linux package managers we've been talking about?
Well, one of the key things is that seamless integration we talked about earlier. Winget is deeply embedded within the Windows operating system.
Okay.
It's like having a personal assistant who speaks your computer's language fluently.
So it's not some clunky third-party tool that feels like an afterthought.
Exactly. Winget is built right into Windows, which means it can leverage the power of the operating system to manage software installations, updates, and removals with incredible precision.
And is it just for tech-savvy users who love the command line? Or can anyone use it?
That's a great question. And one of the things that makes Winget so powerful is that it can benefit users of all levels.
Okay.
We all know the frustration of hunting for the latest version of a program, clicking through endless download pages, and ending up with a bunch of unwanted extra software bundled in.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like navigating a digital minefield sometimes.
With Winget, that frustration becomes a thing of the past. You can install software with a single command.
Wow.
Imagine typing Winget install program name, and that's it.
Okay.
The software is downloaded, installed, and ready to go, all from a trusted source.
That sounds almost too good to be true. Is it really that simple?
It really can be. And remember those dependency issues we talked about. Winget handles those automatically as well. No more hunting down missing files or compatibility headaches. Winget takes care of all the behind-the-scenes work, so you can focus on what matters using your software.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a game changer for Windows users.
Yeah.
Like finally, we get to experience the same level of software management that Linux users have been enjoying for years.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about individual users either.
Oh.
For system administrators managing hundreds or even thousands of computers, Winget opens up a world of possibilities for automation and control.
I can only imagine the sigh of relief from system administrators everywhere when Winget came along. No more manually updating software on each machine, right?
Exactly. Imagine being able to quickly set up new computers with all the necessary software pre-installed, or effortlessly keeping an entire network of machines up to date with the latest security patches.
That's every IT admin's dream. A more manageable environment where software updates don't turn into a logistical nightmare.
Absolutely. And Winget also makes it much easier to manage software across multiple devices. Think of it as a central command center for your software, allowing you to install, update, or remove applications on any Winget-enabled machine with ease.
So Winget is like taking all those years of innovation in the Linux world and bringing them to Windows.
Yeah.
But in a way that feels natural to the Windows environment.
That's a great way to summarize it. And what's even more exciting is that Winget is still evolving.
Okay.
Microsoft is constantly adding new features and expanding its capabilities.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but I'm curious, what are some of the things that make Winget particularly well-suited for the Windows ecosystem? What sets it apart?
Well, one key aspect is its support for MSIX applications.
MSIX. Refresh my memory.
MSIX is a modern packaging format for Windows applications.
Yeah.
Think of it as a self-contained travel suitcase for your software.
Okay.
It has everything the program needs to run smoothly and securely no matter where it goes.
Okay, so MSIX is like a neat little package that keeps everything organized.
Exactly. And Winget is specifically designed to handle these MSIX packages with ease. It can install, update, and remove them seamlessly, making it a perfect fit for the modern world of Windows software.
So Winget is not just catching up to the past, it's also looking ahead to the future of Windows software. That brings us to the big question. How does all this benefit the everyday Windows user like me?
Yeah.
What are some...
You're absolutely right. What we're seeing with Winget is part of a much larger shift towards a more centralized and standardized approach to software management across all major operating systems. It's like the entire tech world is finally catching on to the benefits that Linux users have been enjoying for years.
So package managers are going mainstream. That's pretty exciting.
Right.
But if we zoom out a bit, what are the bigger implications of this trend? Beyond making our lives easier, how does this change the game for software development and the tech industry as a whole?
Well, one of the most significant impacts is on security. Remember those curator repositories we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
They play a crucial role in combating malware and other security threats.
That makes sense. I mean, if you're downloading software from random websites all over the internet, you're basically playing digital roulette with your computer safety.
Exactly. You never know what you might be getting. But with package managers, you're installing software from trusted sources that have been vetted and often digitally signed. It's like having a security checkpoint at the entrance to your computer, making sure only the good stuff gets in.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in today's world, where cyber attacks seem to be lurking around every corner.
Mm-hmm.
But security isn't the only benefit, right? We talk about how package managers can save time and make software updates less of a hassle. But are there other ways this shift in software distribution is impacting the tech landscape?
Absolutely. One area that's particularly interesting is the impact on software development itself.
Okay.
With package managers, developers can more easily rely on pre-built libraries and components, which can drastically speed up development time.
Okay.
It's like having a well-stocked pantry of ingredients that they can use to create their software masterpieces.
So they don't have to reinvent the wheel every time they start a new project.
Exactly. They can focus on building the unique aspects of their applications, knowing that they have a reliable foundation to build upon.
Right.
This not only saves time, but also reduces the risk of errors.
That makes a lot of sense. And I imagine it also leads to more consistent and reliable software across the board, since everyone is building on a shared set of ingredients.
Precisely. And this brings us to another important point, interoperability.
Okay.
In the past, software applications often lived in their own little silos, making it difficult for them to talk to each other or share data.
Oh, I've definitely experienced that frustration. Trying to get two programs to work together sometimes feels like trying to get two toddlers to share their toys.
It can be a real struggle, but as package managers become more prevalent and as developers increasingly rely on shared libraries and components, we're seeing a move towards greater interoperability between applications.
So it's like everyone is starting to speak the same language, making it easier for different software programs to work together harmoniously.
Exactly, and this increased interoperability has huge implications for productivity and innovation. Imagine a world where all your software tools work together effortlessly, sharing data, automating tasks, and making your digital life a symphony of efficiency.
Okay, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I also want to acknowledge the elephant in the room. We're talking about centralization here. And whenever that word comes up, there are always concerns about control and potential downsides.
All right.
Isn't putting all our software eggs in one basket a bit risky?
You're absolutely right. It's essential to acknowledge those concerns and to approach this shift in software distribution with a critical eye.
So what are some of the potential drawbacks? What should we be watching out for as this trend continues to evolve?
One valid concern is the potential for vendor lock-in. If we become too reliant on a single company or platform for our software needs, it could give them undue influence over our digital lives.
That's a good point. We don't want to end up in a situation where our software choices are dictated by a single entity.
Exactly. We need to ensure healthy competition and that users have choices when it comes to where they get their software. It's about striking a balance between the benefits of centralization and the importance of maintaining diversity and freedom in the software ecosystem.
Diversity is key. And it sounds like open source software and that community-driven approach play a crucial role in maintaining that balance.
Absolutely. Open source software has always championed the principles of transparency and collaboration. And those values are more important than ever as we navigate this new era of software distribution.
That makes sense. We need to make sure those voices are heard. But if we're talking about the future of package management and software distribution, it's not just about addressing potential downsides, right? There's also a lot of room for innovation and exciting new possibilities. What has you particularly excited?
Well, one area I'm really interested in is the convergence of package management with containerization technologies.
Right. Remind me what containers are again.
Think of containers as lightweight, self-contained packages that hold everything an application needs to run. They're like shipping containers for software, ensuring that everything arrives intact and ready to go no matter where they're deployed.
So it's like packaging up a program in its own little world, so it doesn't matter what computer it ends up on, it'll run the same way.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that we're starting to see tighter integration between package managers and container technologies.
Okay.
Winget, for example, is specifically designed to handle MSIX applications, which are essentially containerized packages for Windows.
So it's like package managers are becoming the bridge between our computers and this new world of containerized software.
That's a great way to put it, and this has huge implications for how we deploy and manage applications. Imagine being able to effortlessly install complex software with all its dependencies prepackaged and ready to go.
That sounds incredibly efficient. And what about those MSIX applications specifically? We talked about how Winget can manage them, but what makes them so special? How do they fit into this bigger picture?
That's an excellent question. MSIX applications are a key part of Microsoft's vision for the future of Windows software.
Okay.
They offer several advantages over traditional installation methods. First, they're more secure. Because they're self-contained, they're less likely to interfere with other programs or the operating system itself.
So less chance of those dreaded system crashes.
Exactly. And because they're essentially containers, they're also more portable. You can easily move them between different computers or even different environments without worrying about compatibility issues.
So they're like the nomads of the software world, traveling light and ready to adapt to any environment.
That's a great analogy. And finally, MSIX applications are easier to manage. They can be installed, updated, and removed cleanly and efficiently, all thanks to package managers like Winget. They represent a shift towards a more modern and streamlined approach to software distribution on Windows. And the beauty is that it's all happening behind the scenes, making your digital life smoother and more manageable without you even having to think about it.
I love how you put that, making our digital lives smoother and more manageable. That's a theme we've been touching on throughout this episode, and it's something I want to explore further. We'll be right back with practical tips for using package managers and some exciting possibilities on the horizon. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the origins of package managers in the Linux world to the rise of Winget on Windows. And one thing that's become clear is that this isn't just about techie stuff.
Right.
It's about making our digital lives smoother, more manageable, and less stressful.
Absolutely. And now that we've explored the why of package managers, let's talk about the how.
Okay.
For our listeners who are ready to embrace this new era of software management, what are some practical first steps they can take?
That's the million-dollar question. Let's start with Winget, since that seems to be the big game changer for Windows users.
If you're running Windows 11, you're in luck.
Okay.
Winget is already built in. You can access it through the command line or PowerShell, and it's surprisingly easy to use even if you're not a command line guru.
Okay, but for those of us who might be a little intimidated by the command line, any tips or resources for getting started?
Absolutely. Microsoft has some excellent documentation on their website with clear explanations and examples. And if you prefer a more visual approach, there are tons of helpful tutorials and videos available online.
Okay.
A quick search for Winget tutorial will give you plenty of options.
Perfect. So let's say I'm ready to give Winget a try. What are some basic commands I should know?
Well, installing a program is as simple as typing Winget install followed by the name of the program. For example, if you want to install the popular code editor, Visual Studio Code, you would type Winget install vscode.
Okay.
Winget will search its repositories, find the right package, and take care of the installation process for you.
Wow, that's incredibly simple. No more hunting down installers on shady websites.
Exactly. And one of the coolest things is that Winget handles all those pesky dependencies automatically. You don't have to worry about missing files or compatibility issues. Winget takes care of all the behind-the-scenes work, so you can just launch your program and get things done.
Okay, that alone is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
But what about updating software? I know keeping things up to date is crucial for security.
Right.
But it can be such a chore.
Winget makes updating your software a breeze.
Okay.
A single command Winget upgrade all will check for updates for all the packages you've installed through Winget.
Okay.
And install any available updates. You can also set up automatic updates so you don't even have to think about it.
Oh, wow.
Winget will silently keep your software up to date in the background like a diligent little elf working tirelessly to keep your digital world secure and running smoothly.
I love that analogy. It's like having a personal IT team working behind the scenes to keep everything in tip-top shape. Now, I'm sure there are tons of other cool things you can do with Winget, but I want to make sure we don't overwhelm our listeners. Are there any other essential tips or best practices that everyone should know?
One thing we've emphasized throughout this deep dive is the importance of security. Winget has a default repository maintained by Microsoft, which is a good place to start.
Okay.
But you can also add other repositories.
Right.
It's essential to do your research and make sure those repositories are reputable before you install anything from them.
So it's kind of like choosing where you get your groceries.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy food from a random street vendor. You'd go to a store you trust.
Exactly. Stick to trusted sources and your computer will thank you.
Great advice.
True.
Now, all this Winget talk is fantastic, but what about those of us who aren't on Windows? What about Mac OS or Linux users? Do they get to join the package manager party?
Absolutely. Mac OS users have Homebrew, which is very similar to Winget in terms of its functionality and ease of use.
Okay.
And for Linux users, the specific package manager you'll use depends on your distribution.
Right.
But the general principles and best practices we've discussed for Winget apply across the board.
So no matter what operating system you're using, there's a package manager out there ready to simplify your software life. And as we've discussed throughout this episode, it's not just about convenience.
Right.
It's about embracing a more secure, efficient, and ultimately more enjoyable digital experience.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And as we look to the future, the possibilities are incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where you can instantly deploy complex applications or entire software environments with a single command, all thanks to the magic of containers and package managers working together.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It might sound futuristic, but this technology is rapidly becoming a reality. We're on the cusp of a new era where software becomes more fluid, adaptable, and personalized. And it's all thanks to the humble package manager working tirelessly behind the scenes to connect the dots and make the magic happen.
I love how you put that. The humble package manager, a silent hero working tirelessly to make our digital lives better. And on that inspiring note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure diving deep into this topic with you.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to explore the world of package managers, embrace the power of these tools, stay curious, and never stop learning. The future of software is waiting to be discovered, and with the right tools in hand, you can shape that future for the better. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.